Go. We're here with JT. Just topped the Halifax Regionals. JT, how you finish?
I finished 5-1. I played Purrely.
Really? What place you finished?
5th place.
Oh, congratulations, man. Purrely.
Yep.
Any other shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to East Coast Games and East Coast Gaming, our YouTube channel. We're going to have more content coming up there in the future, mostly focused on competitive play. I'd like to give a shout out to the guys from Mountain who lent me cards. Also my wife and kids, and special shout out to my cat, Purrely, who looks like this guy. I love my cat.
Yep. Absolutely. Let's get into it, man.
All right. So 3 Purrely, 3 Purrely. Not too much to say here. Wanted to make sure to have starters, so that's why we played 3 over 2. And then I did play a discard engine. Played 3 Rainbow and 1 Lucent. So I played these for a couple reasons. This is a going first version because I think that the format is just way too wide open to be going second into everything. Like every deck is just so threatening. It's hard to tailor your main deck to be able to go second into everything consistently. So the idea behind these is that they're very small engine, but if you do draw into the rainbow, it allows you to make a really threatening board with stuff in the extra deck, which I'll show in the end. And it just continuously also allows you to refuel discards into your hand. Because this can keep on bouncing itself back to hand, then discard to summon, and keep going until you run out of cards to use.
And what was the choice on the Lucent? Why that one?
This just has the highest attack. Between this, Silva, and Gold, it's just got higher attack. I don't play any effects that force my opponent to make me discard, so Silva and Gold aren't worth playing over this. It's good to have a 3k beat stick, because sometimes this deck has a hard time beating over monsters. So I don't play any of the other Dark Worlds, because I don't think they're worth the space. So Snow, you don't want to draw multiple of these, first of all. Because then your hand gets too clogged with discards, because this is just a bunch of discards on its own, so that's fine. And then Brow, also just because you don't want your hand to clog with these things. Because if you draw multiple of these, then they're just bricks, basically.
Did you find you bricked a lot today, or was it pretty good?
I did actually a couple times, but not because of clogging of this, but just not drawing one of 22 starter cards. That happened a couple times, but I mean that's also just Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the way the game goes sometimes. So yeah.
Perfect.
Then I'll show some of the extra deck cards after that I used that were the idea with this. Honestly, I don't think I would play this again. This deals with Cash kind of dropping in popularity, Bestials are picking up in popularity, and these are obviously terrible into Bestials.
Yep.
And honestly, they're pretty bad into Cash too. But again, it was just the idea was to try and make going first much more threatening, because the standard end board of one monster turning into Noir maybe is just not consistently strong enough. You can't make Noir big enough with Delicious at 1. So the idea was to try and put up a more threatening end board. But yeah, I'd try and find something else different going forward. I also don't know if I'd play this deck again, honestly.
You're gonna say it after yes, as always.
Well, just because this is the only deck I own, so that's why I played it. But I think that a lot of other decks in the format are much stronger. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing Purrely, but if you got it, here's a build you can use. 3 Ash, it's just universally the best card versus everything.
Ton of Branded today too. Did that come up a lot?
I played Branded once, and I drew it against Branded Fusion, which is obviously good. It didn't super matter. But yeah, it's just generically, in that game anyway, I was already very far behind. But yeah, I think it's just generically good against everything, and probably should be in your main deck right now in almost everything. 3 Prosperity, so I'm not playing any draws like Brow or Shadal Beast, so this doesn't conflict with anything. And the idea is to help you dig for more starters, dig for Delicious, dig for the Dark World cards. The extra deck's kind of tight, so banishing sometimes with this is difficult. You got to be careful on managing your extra deck resources.
Were you normally 3 or 6?
It would depend, honestly. If I needed a starter, I'm obviously going for 6. If I'm going second and I needed to dig for Dark Ruler or Board Breaker of some sort, then I'm obviously going for 6.
Yep.
But if I'm just going first and just want to get into something additional, then I'm just going for 3. Because if I have Purrely in my hand, then I might use this first because there's like 3 cards that I'm playing that you can search off Lily. So if I want to have both of them in my hand, I try and prosp for one of them first, and then search the one that I didn't get.
So very hand dependent on your banishes.
Yeah, it super depends on your hand, whether you're going for 3 or 6. And the other thing is too is that if you're prospering for 6, you got to be aware that they might ash it. So you want to make sure that you have other stuff in your hand that you can use. 3 Dark Ruler. This is the only real going second card that I played, like Board Breaker. I thought that this just was the best card to play to out the most stuff, because your monster, like the fact that you can use Purrely multiple times per turn, you can use all the memories multiple times per turn, it makes it so you can push through back row a bit easier, but it's harder to push through big monster boards because your monsters are normally so small. So playing this, attacking something, making a Zeus, and then clearing the board was the game plan pretty much going second. So I think this was just the best card to play for going second. And the idea as well is, like, normally in a going first deck, this card isn't really great, but you have so many ways to just use it if you draw it going first. Like, you can discard it off of memory, you can send it off of, like in a later turn, you can send it off of beauty to attach something if you draw it. So it's not entirely dead going first. Like, at the very worst, you have something to use as a discard.
Would you cut down on it, you think? To 2 or
Nope.
3? Or
Nope,
the same?
100% play 3.
Yep.
The memories, nothing really to say here. You're just maxing out because you want to end the 3 My Friend. You want to hit off your Purrely.
How'd you find your your hits today?
How did I find what?
Your hits today off the Purrely monsters.
I mean, I whiffed on Purrely a lot, but I think that I was also playing the absolute max that you can comfortably and consistently play. So that's, again, just numbers. That's the way Yu-Gi-Oh works. Stray Street. So since this is a going first build, this is a really strong card to play. If you already have My Friend, or if you already have Leap, this gives you something additional to search off Lily, protects your stuff that you summon from like Veilers and Imperms, but most importantly, it will, during the end phase, attach something from the deck to one of your monsters to give it that extra material to make the Noir on your opponent's turn just that much bigger, and probably you're attaching a Sleeping Memory so that you get to draw a card. So there's a hope that you might draw into Ash, for example, or just additional resources to help on the pushback the following turn. So going first, I think this was fine, but definitely don't want to play more than 1 because it does nothing on its own. I was for a while playing the Rainbow Bridge package and multiples of these, but that just had way too many bricks to really be worth it. So I did opt for I was either in between no discard engine or some sort of draw engine like Beast and Brow and stuff. And if I were to play this again, I'd probably go with the draw cards or no discard engine at all. But yeah.
Awesome.
One Call by the Grave. This is my 40th card. I wasn't quite sure what to play, but just figured that this was going to be good going first. It was the best going first card. I didn't want to play Talents because it conflicts with Prosperity, and there's a few times that I want to use the card, like the memories during draw phase, which if they interrupt, then I can't Talents. And I didn't want to play Thrust either, because I thought there was going to be more Imperm than I thought it was going to be a much lower hand trap format than what it ended up being, so that's why I cut Talents and Thrust and just instead wanted to go for like a super consistent deck.
Yep.
But this was in there to try and get around Ash, to hopefully if people are main decking D-Shifter and Cash, this is like the one card that can guarantee get rid of it for just 1 card.
Yeah, my shifter got called by a couple times today. I think people are picking up on that one.
Yeah, so again, it was the 40th card, but I think it was, and I knew also there'd be a couple of Dragon Link players, so having this against Seal is very crazy.
Disgusting.
And then for the traps, 3 Leap, 3 Imperm. I think this is the second best interrupt aside from Ash. It's okay. It's the best in a wide open format like we're in at the moment. I don't know if I'd keep playing it going forward because there's a lot of board breakers out there, and having to set this when going first is not good. But drawing it for when going second it does what it does. So I'd probably keep 3. 3 leap, just because, again, this is a going first deck, so I want the chance of drawing this as much as possible, or being able to search it off of Purrely, and just, again, having the large number of Purrely cards so that Purrely misses as little as possible, because missing off of Purrely is really painful. So just having stuff to hit, even if you draw this just to discard it off something, you can at least get some value out of it by recycling your monsters, because you do tend to go through monsters pretty quickly, especially like with the Dark World cards where you're summoning over and over and over again. And then with the extra deck, like, it helps you recycle some stuff. So anyway,
Awesome. Anything you changed at anything?
I'd take out the Dark World package. I'm not sure if I'd use a draw engine or no engine at all and just play more consistency cards. I'd probably just opt to play more consistency cards. I don't know what they'd be, but that's just what I would be thinking.
Awesome.
So for the extra deck, 1 plump, 2 beauty, 2 happiness. Not much to say there. For the plump, only play 1 because you're barely even summoning plump in the first place with Delicious Memory Limited now. And you really only need 1, and worst case, if you need to recycle it, I'm playing 3 leap. Double Noir. Assembled Nightingale is the only rank 1 I play, but because I think it is the best one. Just being able, going second, to be able to attack directly. I didn't play Fucho because I'm playing IP for the Dark World combo. So that if I have 2 monsters left over, I can at least make that. But I think this one's just the best going second because you can attack directly and make Zeus. Downerd and 2 Zeus.
Did you have any thought against the? I think it was that level 1, that rank 1 magician card. I forget what it's called.
The Slacker Magician.
Yes.
Also considered it. Like, it is good, but I just found that Nightingale was just better. Like, for the tight extra deck that I had, if I was going to pick a rank 1, it was going to be one that could attack directly without losing material.
Awesome.
So for Link monsters, played IP, Muckracker, Unicorn, and Griffin. So IP, just to be able to use leftover bodies to make an interrupt with Unicorn on my opponent's turn. It's also a Fiend, works with Muckracker, but basically the ideal kind of setup that you want to end up on with the Dark, which is very easy if you draw a Rainbow, is to end up with like Muckracker, Griffin, and Beauty. So
This is huge.
yeah, if you draw a Memory and Rainbow, then you can end on this as long as you keep hitting other memories off your Purrely summons. But anyway, this is like the threatening board that I wanted to go with because it required the least amount of investment to get the most value. So you'd have a negate with Beauty, Griffin would be stopping everything, and then this would protect your other stuff from dying by battle or card effect. And then once you've used up the Beauty, or if you have to shotgun it, depending on what your opponent plays, you can leap to put the Noir here so that your opponent can summon a Link monster to what Griffin points to so that they can't use their effects on special summon.
Ooh.
Never got to pull this off, but that's the idea anyway. That was the theory that we wanted to end on, just to make going first, because the end board of just Noir is not threatening enough, but this is pretty scary in game 1.
So with a tight extract like that, what do you normally do for the Port of Prosperity?
Normally do what, sorry?
Just banish for the Port of Prosperity.
So going first, I would probably get rid of a Noir, a Happiness, and depending on my hand, a Unicorn, possibly. Just because, if I didn't think there was a likelihood that I would just end on IP, I would put this back into deck. Because then I was never going to use this because I'd just be going for the Nightmare Griffin play and not need Unicorn. Going second, a lot of the time I was siding out the Dark World stuff. So I would have been getting rid of this stuff going second. If I was prospering for 6.
Sounds good.
Not 100% sure that getting rid of both Noirs is the right call, or one of the 2 Noirs is the right call, but I keep 1 leap in going second just to have something extra to search off of Purrely, so at the very worst, I can recycle it.
Shuffle it back.
Because I mean, it's pretty much never getting banished. Like, at worst, they're going to kaiju it.
I mean, he thought regional, so I guess that was the right call.
Yeah, the theory worked, yeah.
It worked for him, yeah.
So, like I said, going first with this deck is kind of weak. So I did side more going first cards than what I normally would with something. So I just wanted to side the stuff that would stun people the most. So 3 summon limit, just basically generic against everything to stop turns as much as possible. And then 2 D-barrier. Branded's a popular deck around here, and so is Sword Soul, so that's why I picked these. But I think that these are some of the strongest going first cards. There's a lot of board breakers around, so I don't know if I'd play Summon Limit again, just because it gets hit by Evenly and Lightning Storm, which this deck is already weak to. So I'd have to reconsider if I play these again.
They work well today?
Sorry?
Work well today? So you find all those cards work really well today?
Summon Limit just got killed every time I played it. And I did draw a D-barrier and it mattered against Branded, so
awesome.
That did what it was supposed to do. And then just to help, so going second, this deck is actually a lot stronger post-side than you might expect, just because you have so many ways to get to Zeus. But I did play 5 spell trap removal to get rid of floodgates. Stuff like anti-spell, Gozen, Rivalry, all that stuff. Specifically played Cosmic because of Runic. Going second, Runic is a very tough matchup for this deck because it's hard to beat both Fountain and the end board if they're playing like Sprite and stuff. But having Cosmic to just out the Fountain is key, so that's why I played those. And I figured that Runic is probably one of the stronger decks right now, so that's why I played Cosmic.
Agreed, yeah.
And then for other side stuff, 2 Santa Claus and 3 Nib. This is just for going second against monster decks. This is for like Mirror, Kashtira. There's a couple people playing Marincess here. And just sided this in general against just to work as 1-for-1 removal to remove whatever is a problem, and then Zeus everything else away.
How did you find the Nib today?
Didn't end up signing it in at all. So this card is not too great this format, I think. I don't know if I'd keep playing it again, but perhaps not optimally, but I didn't super feel comfortable playing a tournament without Nib at least somewhere in my list, just because a lot of the time in a wide open format, people tend to run into it. So I don't know if I'd play it going forward, but it was more of a comfort thing to have Nib in my side than anything else.
Awesome, man. Any other shout outs you want to give today?
No, that's everything. Thanks.
Perfect.
See you next time.
Congratulations, brother. Congrats.